With the Heat amid the offseason in preparation for the start of the 2025-26 season, there is still a decision that is lurking ahead in regards to giving star Tyler Herro a contract extension. While the Heat star in Herro was nonchalant in his approach to a contract extension before, he will be eligible this upcoming October, with the team's decision likely to be vital. Herro will be first eligible starting on October 1st, where he could command a 3-year deal worth $150 million, with that decision expiring on the 20th of that month. However, it could benefit Herro to potentially wait, as after the upcoming season, there's a chance he could qualify for a 4-year, $207 million contract through the 2030-31 season, according to the Miami Herald. Despite the numbers given, there could still be negotiations between the team and Herro in October about an extension that fits both sides, or the star guard could forego it and wait until next season. He would say in late April, after the season, though, that it isn't the biggest deal. Not the biggest deal, but I would love to be here. The front office, the organization, the city, everyone knows how much I love Miami. I've been here since I was 18-19. I've got 2 kids here, Herro said during exit interviews. This is really home for me. I love being here. Basketball is why I'm here at the end of the day. I want to win, and I know how badly this organization and city want to win. We will see what happens. If it doesn't get done in October, then we can get it done next summer. It will just be a little bit higher of a price. Heat's Pat Riley on a potential contract extension for Tyler Herro. Heat President Pat Riley would speak about a potential Herro contract extension and would be non-committal on one happening in October. Though Riley would say that Herro is deserving of one and that they had conversations about a possible timeline. I think he answered that question perfectly last week. He's okay, Riley said during his end-of-season press conference. And so we've already talked about it, and I've talked about it with Tyler. And so we'll see what happens as we plan. But definitely Tyler is deserving of that, of the thought of an extension. But are we going to do it? We haven't committed to it, but we're going to discuss it. And I've already talked to him about it. He's cool. Herro no doubt had the best year of his career last season, earning his first All-Star nod, as he led the team by averaging 23.9 points and 5.5 assists to go along with 5.2 rebounds per game. He put up those numbers while shooting 47.2% from the field and 37.5% from three-point range, leading Riley to say to Clutch Points that Herro is ignitable and that he hopes he could stay here for the rest of his career. He's one of the most ignitable guys offensively in the league, and we're happy to have him, Riley said. He's pivotal for us as an offensive player. We just need more around him that can do a little bit of what he does because now he's getting beat up, he's getting schemed, overly schemed, and so we'll learn a lot about that. So, Tyler is a player, and I hope he could stay here the rest of his career, and then we can build the team that he's part of. How Tyler Herro needs to adapt for the Heat. There is help on the way for Herro as the Heat added Norman Powell via a trade from the Los Angeles Clippers, but there are still aspects that the 25-year-old could improve in, like adapting to intense defense and face guarding. After an explosive start to the year, Herro would get added pressure, especially after the Jimmy Butler trade, as Riley would echo the same sentiments. But now, when you're in a position of having 2 on the ball all the time, and you're getting picked up full court, 94 feet, Riley said. And I know for a fact that Tyler was telling Max Struss, could you use some Listerine, please, or something like that, because he face-guarded them all over the court, and it's a whole another world that he's in now. And so people will sacrifice so much on defense just to wear him out. So those are the things that coach is very good at and has to really, identify and reconcile, Riley continued. And then Tyler simply has to learn how to be a great player like Steph Curry is when he gets that treatment and to be able to still score, and there's going to be nights when he's going to have those 4 for 20 games. He's just one of those guys. But I'm glad that we got him. It remains to be seen what Miami will do when it comes to a potential contract extension with Herro, as there are multiple variables at play. Sure, the extension in October will command at or around $50 million per season, but it could be more come next offseason. At any rate, Miami is looking to improve after finishing 37-45, which put them 10th in the Eastern Conference. 3 years ago, when ESPN examined why all 30 NBA teams were all in for the 2022-23 season, It took a while to reach the first mention of the Oklahoma City Thunder. At the time, OKC had one cornerstone player, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who had yet to make his first All-Star game, and had just picked Chet Holmgren number 2 and Jalen Williams number 12 in the 2022 draft. Even though Oklahoma City's young talent and draft capital showed promise then, it would have been difficult to forecast the franchise ascending to the level it reached this past season, 68 regular season wins before rolling through the playoffs and becoming the second youngest championship team in NBA history. And yet, it's a clear reminder that every team can't always be chasing a title. Even in an era defined by parity, a different champion has been crowned in a league record 7 consecutive seasons. Only a handful of teams are truly championship quality every year. As a result, teams might be all in on developing a young core, like the Thunder was 3 seasons ago, or all in on navigating 2 timelines like the Golden State Warriors or Dallas Mavericks. Here's our take on what all-in looks like for all 30 teams, after combing through each team's roster, salary cap projections, and draft pick obligations. That led us to 8 tiers as the 2025-26 season approaches, which will define each team's relative success or failure. The Miami Heat are rare, in the sense that they do not want to bottom out and rebuild from the ground up. They prefer to remain in the fringes of the playoff picture at the very least, and at present, they are remaining semi-competitive, hoping that the next star that becomes available deems the Heat to be the team they want to play for. Their moves this offseason certainly suggest that they're going to gun for a playoff spot in the coming season. And it's difficult to fault them for the trade they pulled off to bring Norman Powell in. All the Heat had to trade to acquire a 20-plus per game scorer in Powell were Kyle Anderson, Kevin Love, and a second-round pick, making it a no-brainer. Powell may not be the piece that takes this team from good to great, but he's an incredible piece to have for a team that did have its fair share of offensive struggles this past season. He was one of the most efficient scorers in the NBA last year, taking some of the heavy scoring burden away from Tyler Herro. The Heat have shown in the past that remaining semi-competitive and waiting to strike at the right time could work. They only need their Jimmy Butler-caliber player to set things in motion for their contending dreams. But that may not happen until the 2027 offseason, when stars such as Giannis Antetokounmpo and Donovan Mitchell could, in theory, hit the open market. Nonetheless, there is a move they must make that is staring the Heat franchise in the face. Terry Rozier should have played his final minute for the Heat already. When the Heat traded for Rozier in 2024, the combo guard was in the middle of a career season for the Charlotte Hornets, averaging 23.2 points per game on 46/36/85 shooting splits. Miami needed a boost at the guard positions during that time, with Kyle Lowry being a shell of his former self already. Little did the Heat know that they would have been better off just keeping Lowry and the 2027 first-round pick that they gave up to bring Rozier in. Now, this is not to say that the current version of Rozier is a worse player than Lowry is. But it's debatable as to whether or not that roster spot would be better off being designated for someone else rather than Rozier and his declining play while making $26.6 million in the final year of his contract. $24.9 million of that is guaranteed, removing the option of waiving him from the equation. Of course, Rozier can still bounce back. He's just 31 years of age, after all. Players who were as productive as Rozier was just 2 seasons ago always have that potential to return to form still, especially when they aren't in their late 30s and haven't exactly been plagued by injury problems. However, what further complicates matters is the fact that Rozier's off-court troubles may be worse than his on-court decline. Rozier is currently being investigated for his involvement in a gambling scandal that occurred in 2023, and although he has not been officially charged with any wrongdoing, it's always worrisome for any NBA player to find himself involved in such a thing. Rozier's NBA career is simply on a sharp downhill trajectory. His 10.6 points per game production on 39/30/85 shooting splits is not doing him any favors as well. Simply put, the Heat should do everything in their power to trade Rozier away to make the most of his $26.6 million expiring contract and keep adding players who could aid in Miami's goal of hanging tough in the Eastern Conference playoff picture. Perhaps the Heat could dangle Rozier in a trade for Boston Celtics guard Anthony Simons. Simons' contract is also expiring, but the Heat could be a team that ends up deciding to pay Simons big money on his next contract. Maybe the Heat could acquire Dillon Brooks from the Phoenix Suns. Brooks is a hard-nosed defender who fits Heat culture to AT, and Miami expressed interest in the enforcer in the past. What if the Heat acquire someone like Colin Sexton and send Rozier back to his home, the Hornets? Sexton is someone who hustles and puts in the effort, and he could combine with Davion Mitchell to form an annoying backcourt to deal with. Simply put, there are many options the Heat have to explore when it comes to dealing with Rozier. But one thing's for sure, they have to start next season without him on the roster.